sponsors 92 national championships in 24 sports across 3 divisions each year. We cheer for the 500,000 student athletes in the game and in the classroom. For more information or to find a championship near you, visit ncaa.com. The NCAA thanks our corporate champions, AT&T, Capital One, and Coca-Cola, and our corporate partners, Buffalo Wild Wings, Geico, Great Clips, Home Depot, Intuit TurboTax, Invesco QQQ, LG, Marriott, Pizza Hut, Reese's, Ritz, Samsung Galaxy, Unilever, and Wendy's. Their support enhances NCAA championships and the educational and athletic experiences of nearly 500,000 NCAA student athletes. The NCAA thanks official equipment suppliers Fiscal, Gilman Gear, Pearl Lacrosse Balls, and Smitty's official apparels for the support of NCAA championships. Their contributions help enhance the educational and athletic experiences of nearly 500,000 NCAA student athletes. Do you plan to play college sports? Visit ncaa.org/playcollegesports to learn more about NCAA eligibility requirements. We are all on the same team, and we play a role in keeping our community safe. While you're watching the game, keep an eye out for suspicious activity. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities. Together, we can protect our community. afternoon and welcome to the Noli Family Intramural and Athletic Complex for today's NCAA Division II Men's Lacrosse quarterfinals featuring the Lewis University Flyers and the University of Tampa Spartans. The University of Tampa and the NCAA promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation in supporting the student athletes and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, derogatory comments, or other intimidating actions directed at athletes, officials, team representatives, or other fans will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal. We appreciate your cooperation in creating a safe and positive game environment. Respect, it's the name of the game. At this time, we ask that you please rise, remove your hats to honor America and those who support our freedom at home and abroad, and join University of Tampa sophomore Bailey Browns in the singing of our national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang clear, the bombs bursting through the night, that her flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of
And now, here are today's starting lineups, beginning with Lewis University. Defenders are number 93, Tyler Davis, and number 94, Braylon Ray. Midfielders are number 4, Dylan Kendrick, number 5, Logan Suki, number 7, Michael Turvich, and number 15, Joe Jenda. Attackers are number 6, Camden Rathis, number 24, Paul Roskowski, and number 88, Malachi Good. In goal, 0, Caden Donahue. The Flyers are led by Joe Peruzzi, assisted by Trent Siggins, Zan Hayes, and Michael Julians. And now, here are the University of Tampa Spartans. Defenders are number 10, Gordy Gumbo, and number 14, Robert Demmer. Midfielders, number 6, Harry Boland, number 8, Tom Ratura, number 22, Conley Stone, and number 70, Michael Thomas. Attackers are number 13, Jackson Bashaw, number 15, Rex Kesselring, and number 66, Eric Burbank. In goal for the Spartans is number 12, Weston Schmidt. The Spartans are led by J.B. Clark, assisted by Ryan Sullivan, Jay Goldsmith, Scott Gramble, and Michael Flores. Today's officials are Hans Wittelsberger, Paul Sissio, and Peter Delvecchia. As a reminder to all spectators, please be alert at all times during today's game. Lacrosse balls can accidentally fly into the seating areas. Be alert to the action. The NCAA and the University of Tampa want everyone to have a safe and enjoyable time at today's game. Thank you.
I know my rent was gonna be late about a week ago.
Good afternoon from the Nemoli Family Athletic and Intramural Complex on the grounds of the University of Tampa campus. This afternoon, the Tampa Spartans playing host to the Lewis Flyers. I am Bruce Wozniak, joined by Taylor Stolworthy, and the stakes continue to get higher and higher. This is the NCAA Men's Lacrosse quarterfinal, as the Spartans in all white, going from right to left, prepare to host Lewis, wearing black in the Florida sun. And going from left to right, the starting goaltenders Weston Schmidt for Tampa and Caden Donahue for Lewis. And a beautiful afternoon, Taylor, for what should be a heated matchup down on the field.
It certainly should. Both teams carrying some pretty strong winning streaks into the tournament. For Tampa, it is 12 in a row. The Flyers coming off of their conference tournament win, 6 in a row. But it will be Tampa taking the initial face-off. But the Flyers get it back in midfield, forcing an early Spartans turnover.
That was Michael Thomas for the Spartans, who looked like he'd won the face-off. And so the Flyers with the first offensive possession of the game. And already making some personnel changes. Interesting, Taylor, that the Spartans go back to Weston Schmidt as their starting goaltender today. We had gotten pretty used to seeing him, and that was not the case when we were here a couple days ago. The Spartans won to advance to this game. Kyle Raleigh was the goaltender that day, so I guess head coach J.B. Clark keeping the opponent on their toes.
Yeah, it was an interesting decision for Tampa to go with Raleigh. It worked out well. It was a great day for the Spartans as a whole, playing elite defense, and Raleigh did make a majority of the stops needed, as Tampa going to bring it up quickly. But also, I think a big thing to watch for will be Tampa's offense. They were efficient, and even though they took a lot of shots, they only had 12 goals. They might have better luck today in terms of getting shots on target, but they do have a pretty formidable goalie that they're going up against.
Aaron Cho works it from the far side, leaves it back for Ortega. Ortega flips it to this side of the field. Green on the move. Second defender comes over to help out, and that one goes wide and out of play on the far side of the field. The Spartans come into this game averaging 13.3 goals per game, and do not adjust your sets, as the expression goes. They only allow 6.7 goals against. So Taylor, a tremendous season defensively for Tampa, as Cho bumps with the defender and can't get a shot away.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing for Tampa and these Coach Clark sides. They are very patient, and they focus on elite defense with the ability to score from long range.
Aaron Cho with the goal. From long range is right, but you have to admire the decision to really shoot through traffic. You'll see on the replay here that he didn't have a wide open shooting lane, and just the confidence to send that one in and beat Caden Donahue 155 into the game. And Taylor, you and I had talked on the broadcast the other day that Aaron Cho is kind of someone that other teams will key on, and the Spartans the other day got contributions from a number of players not named Aaron Cho, and now here he is starting the scoring in this one.
Yeah, it was the Jackson Bashaw show in the first matchup for the Spartans, round 2 of the NCAA tournament, with a season-high 6-point game. Cho got on the board with some assists, but was largely kept off the board. However, I think he was determined to not have that happen today, but the immediate response from the Flyers. What a shot by Cole Wessner.
So the Flyers answer right back. 28 seconds later, unassisted goal. And Wessner came into today as the 4th leading point getter and 4th leading goal scorer for Lewis. He entered this game with 39 goals and 16 assists in 15 games played. As you see, the Spartans in possession now.
That was a great solo run to just open some space and get a clean shot off of Schmidt. Here comes Tampa, though, with a quick pass around.
Burbank, and they're going to call the Flyers for that one. Burbank had a nice burst of speed towards the net, and the defender met him too aggressively. So a flag has been thrown. It's on the field and behind the Lewis net. Spartans as play carries on, and there's an errant pass that misses Zach Friend, but with the stoppage in play, we will get the call here against the Flyers.
Yeah, we saw a couple of penalties out of Flagler in the previous game, the first round matchup for the Spartans. They mainly came later into the showing when Tampa already had built a somewhat comfortable lead. A lot of those penalties were frustration penalties, I imagine, and a couple of harder hits that maybe were spurred on by frustration. That was just the Flyers getting caught out of position, trying to close down on Burbank, who took one for the team on that hit, getting the ball out and drawing a very useful penalty. It will be 1 minute on the sidelines for Braylon Ray.
This may not be popular with Spartans fans, but when you're 19-1, you've won 12 in a row. I don't want to say, and J.B. Clark would not let this happen, that you become complacent or overconfident, but maybe giving up that Lewis goal so quickly after you take the 1-0 lead is a little bit of a wake-up call, even though it's just the opening minutes of the game, just to remind the Spartans that nothing is given. It doesn't matter that you're 19-1. All Lewis knows is we're here to advance just like you are.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for the Spartans because they've had a lot of comfortable wins as of late. They've had some very dominant victories to close out the regular season leading into tournament play. Obviously, a win 12-3 against Flagler after their close matchup earlier this season was a surprise. But they also closed out the season with a 17-5 win against our rivals, Florida Southern, and then 17-8 against a top 10 team in Florida Tech.
Yeah, so the lesson is that Lewis did not get to the quarterfinal accidentally. And so it's a nice early reminder that you're going to be in for a tough matchup this afternoon. And with just 7 seconds left in the penalty against Lewis, here come the Flyers down the other way.
Tampa with some good early looks. Most recently, though, we see the opening save out of Donahue. He's got 57% for his save percentage on the season. Definitely be a tricky goalie for the Spartans to go up against today.
And that's McCann. Pass over for Whalen. Sends it to the far side of the field. Send it deep in behind the Spartans' net. Quickly up top. And now to this side of the field it comes to McCann once again. McCann tries to turn the corner, can't, makes the pass. They'll send it in behind the Tampa net once again. Working in behind goaltender Weston Schmidt, pass is dropped off. Try to bounce outside, and a nice job defensively shutting that down, and an equally nice goal. Evan Gibbs was doing a nice job defensively, and then Liam Forsyth with the shot that just sneaks in past Weston Schmidt, unassisted. 4:58 into the opening quarter. The Flyers have their first lead of the game.
It's a big lead to get. Tampa's a team that can be absolutely brutal in terms of the defense once they're able to secure that early advantage. But look at the Flyers getting 2 back-to-back after conceding the opener. And that was not an easy shot. Forsyth just drove inside and had enough room to beat Schmidt a bit low. Even better now for Lewis. They're going to win the new face-off.
Forsyth had 11 goals in 17 games coming into today. Ball's on the ground and taken away by Tampa. And away they'll go. And now they settle it just inside the Lewis line.
You know, Bruce, this is a big game for Lewis. It's just the second time they've ever faced the Spartans as a program. And they want revenge. In 2024, it was this spot for the national quarterfinals, just like it is today. And it was a rough day for Lewis. They ended up losing 20-3 as Tampa cruised through to the next round, where they would lose to Lenore-Rhine. Funny enough, Lenore-Rhine potentially Tampa's next opponent, or Lewis's next opponent, depending on who wins here. They face Anderson in this quarterfinal matchup as well that'll be going on. So a repeat of 2024 on both these sides of the bracket, but Lewis already with a better start than they had in 2024, and they keep the lead with that shot barely missing.
Zach Friend did a lot of what I call shucking and jiving back there. Got himself out front enough to get the shot away. May have hit the side of the net and ends up going out of play. Still Spartans ball. Up top it comes, and now to this side of the field. Burbank Puts his shoulder down, he's bumped. Defender slides over to help. Quick passing Conley. And getting inside and taking the shot was Kesselring as it's chased on the far side of the field. One player from each team, and it looked like that was Bashaw that came up with it for U Tampa. Now this is Vera. Vera with a little spin move. Pass for Conley is taken away, missed the mark. And there to step in was Connor Williams for the Flyers. And they ease it back to their goaltender, Donahue. Taylor, you and I have done enough games together where you know I'm always fascinated by the scouting, the recruiting that these coaches do to attract players from all over the country. Now, granted, Lewis is based in Illinois, and you look up and down their roster, Minnesota, Illinois, New York, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, out in Western Canada. So head coach Joe Peruzzi has really gone to great lengths, figuratively and literally, to give his team the best possible lineup he can.
It definitely feels like lacrosse, almost more than any other collegiate sport, has just such a wide pool of recruits around the nation, whether it's from dominant areas like the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic, but also from teams' home states. Usually best talents in the nation will be coming to some of these top programs across D2. It's exciting to see how deep the recruiting can go nationwide for all these teams, and Lewis no exception. But one thing I also want to focus, there are some pretty solid JUCO players making their way to the Flyers, notably Forsyth, who had just scored the go-ahead goal for Lewis. He comes out of Hartford Community College from Webster, New York.
And I can remember as long as 20 years ago when I was in pro indoor lacrosse and how the U.S. national governing body would tout lacrosse as having been the fastest growing sport, and one need look no further than here in Tampa in the way that this program has taken off in the dozen or so years that it's been around, and what a powerhouse the Spartans have turned into. As you see Lewis advancing back down the other way. And wait for everyone to catch up. And it looked like he wanted to shoot from way out. And instead, taking over is good. And he's watched closely there by Gombold. And a pass to Baumley, who drops it off for McCann. McCann looks as a personnel change is made. Starts his move and looked like he was going to shoot, gets the pass away instead. And a nice opening there as a bounce shot goes wide and out of play. But Max Anderson had a good look at the net. And now the Flyers put it back into play. It's in the far corner. Looking for some room to work is McCann. Trying to back in is Roskowski. Shot clock down to 19 for the Flyers. McCann knows it, tries to hurry his way towards the shooting lane. And gets one away that ends up with Schmidt. Almost looked like it was deflected on the way to the net. And here come the Spartans quickly in transition. And a shot that's going to go out of play off the stick of Josh Wietzman.
I like the idea, take the shot on the fast break. And the best thing, Tampa had players forward that were able to quickly get behind the cage and just keep possession for the Spartans on the missed attempt. You know, sometimes you got to lick the stamp and send it, and usually you might be able to beat the goalie on some of those plays. Good job to have that covered, though, by the Flyers.
This is Justin Conley. Got a little bit of a pick there from Wietzman. In the corner now. Drops off a pass. Burbank missed it, now picks it up. Up top to Vera, and then they'll try the other side of the field. White on the move. White runs out of room, sends a pass back for Burbank, bobbled it, and now Burbank picks it up. We're down to 20 on the shot clock. Kesselring looking for some room. Defender goes down. Kesselring with the pass and spinning with the shot was Kyle White. The save made by Donahue. And the Flyers start back as we wind down towards 4 minutes remaining in the opening quarter.
It's a big save there by Donahue on the play. Tampa had a really nicely worked attack. Great spot for Kyle White to fire a close-range shot. I think against a lot of opponents, that would be a game-tying goal. Great play there by Donahue, keeping the Flyers in front.
The more that the Lewis defense makes the Spartans work for a quality scoring chance, I think the more we're going to see some of those outside shots. I'm sure that J.B. Clark is preaching patience on the sideline right now with the Spartans players, though. And now a bounce shot, and they score. Coming out in front was Cole Wesner and bounced it on the far side past Weston Schmidt. And with 3:32 remaining in the opening quarter, it's 3-1 in favor of the visitors.
That's a big goal for the Flyers. If you look at their seasonal numbers, they do a lot of the heavy lifting in the goal scoring category in the first period. For the year, they've outscored opponents 78-25 in the first period of their games. They've had good goal scoring throughout the second and third, usually quieter scoring in the fourth quarter. Would make sense if they're already winning a lot of games by a pretty solid margin. But it's that first quarter which really shines strong, and that's again what's happening today. Tampa is still pretty close. They're a team that definitely can be variable. They can get on the board early. They can get on the board late. Think about how Tampa really took control against Flagler in the second and third quarter. But now the Flyers, who just win another battle by the sideline, can try to keep going with the advantage, 3:20 to play.
Let's not lose sight of those back-to-back goals that were scored from right in front of the net. So the Spartans defensively are going to have somebody there to not let the Flyers get such an in-close opportunity on Weston Schmidt. Now from behind the net, it's a pass to the other side. Pass misses, and a loose ball is going to be picked up by the Spartans, and a trip as the official on the far side of the field immediately throws the flag. The Spartans sideline went crazy in that moment between their teammate going down and the flag being pulled. And they do get the call with 2:56 remaining here in the first quarter.
We get great fan showings every single lacrosse game, but you always get the most love and energy from the sidelines, from your teammates, and you see that right there with the Spartan players on the bench, hyping up a really good defensive stop by Desi Arup right there. Big thing for Tampa on that play, they did a better job of closing down on the near post, where Lewis has found the majority of their attacking opportunities. Tampa's a team that likes to play a man defense, which means they don't necessarily have someone kind of waiting on the post. Usually it'll be that man waiting there, going up and picking the defender behind the net.
Paul Roskowski had gotten the 30-second penalty for Lewis, 13 seconds remaining on it. Spartans quickly on the restart. Cho lobs it inside, and Burbank unable to handle the pass. The Spartans get to it first, however. Green up top to Cho. Penalty is over. Ortega looking for room, and we've seen Tommy Ortega unleash those long outside shots from just about where he is now. Now Green is going to try one. A nice save by Donahue. Green with the rebound. Not able to get it on net, however, as it goes out on the far side of play.
Love the pick up there by Green. First fires a really solid shot that's saved, but no one gets the rebound. He takes it himself, but just puts the shot a little over the target. Important for Tampa to regain momentum in this possession.
Cho, a couple steps back, sends it down low. Burbank from behind the net. Pops out on this side, up top to Ortega. Ortega wants to go one-on-one. Defender playing him awfully close. Now a teammate comes over to help out, and they cause a turnover. And no, the official does not like the way that the turnover is caused. And possession stays with Tampa and a fresh shot clock, as there's 94 seconds left here in the opening quarter. And Tommy Ortega hands it off to Eric Burbank, who will put it into play, and does.
It's a great defensive 1-2 there on Ortega. They got a nice matchup there, but just a little bit too aggressive with the stick usage, I imagine, is what causes the foul. Nothing more, no penalty, no 30-second advantage for the Spartans, but with 14 seconds separating the shot and game clock, Tampa can take one of the final real chances of the period.
Give it to Friend. He's got a shooting lane. Scores! Zach Friend had a great look at the net and fires it up over the right shoulder of Caden Donahue. And the Spartans cut it to 3-2 with 66 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
That's a great close range goal by Zach Friend. Not a surprise that he's getting involved early on. One of the big players on the Spartans attack. He's only had 10 games this season. Now makes it 10 goals and 12 assists on the year for 22 points. If he was healthy the full year, he'd be among the team's leading point scorers. I'd imagine maybe 50, 55 points on the year. He probably would improve upon his overall averages. But still, that's a great goal for Friend to get. And Tampa's going to ultimately win the faceoff off a violation. So maybe they, like Lewis, will go back-to-back and answer goals.
Yeah, a big shot in the arm for the home team here. Chance to tie it up before this first quarter ends. Green with it up top. Friend, who just scored, sends it over for Ortega. Gets it right back. Friend starts his move in the direction of the Lewis sideline. And now over the line and is being watched there by Ethan Fisher. Tries to get around him. Fisher staying with him. And now reset with Green. 23 seconds left. Ball to this side of the field, up top for Ortega. And there's a shot by Green, he scores! Grant Green ties it with 12 seconds left in the first quarter. And the 2-goal Flyers lead has been erased. An unassisted goal. And back-to-back outside shots that convert for the Spartans.
I think it's a big thing for the Flyers that they had that 3-goal run after going down 1-0, because Tampa can definitely chain back-to-back goals like this. Once they get going and get in a rhythm, they are a really tough team to stop. So getting that buffer early in the period has proven to be very useful, because now that the Spartans are awake, we're back on level footing, and there might be time for a buzzer beater, but more likely we'll enter the second quarter at a level footing. And with Lewis being the underdog, I think they can be satisfied, if not just a little disappointed, of losing the advantage to close the first.
5 seconds if they can get one away. 2 seconds, and a long shot taken that goes wide and out of play. So the Spartans come back from being down 2, and they knot it at 3-3. We'll be back with the second quarter of NCAA Men's Lacrosse quarterfinal play here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network after this break. Bruce Wozniak back here in Tampa, joined by Taylor Stillworthy. The Spartans and the Flyers tied at 3 after 1. Shots on goal in that opening quarter were 7-4 in favor of U Tampa. Lewis won 4 faceoffs. The Spartans won 3. And ground balls showed 6 picked up by the visitors and the same number by the home team as we get ready for quarter number 2. And that one's pulled back nicely by Michael Thomas for the Spartan face-off win. And so U Tampa with the second quarter's opening possession. And looked like Eric Burbank wanted to fire it from way outside. Thought otherwise, as this is Cho up top for Ortega. Grant Green just stepped on the field, receives the pass. Into the corner it goes. Friend, he looked like he wanted to shoot. Cho bumps with the defender. Out in front, they score! A great finish by Zach Friend. And the Spartans have scored 3 straight goals. This one just 43 seconds into the second quarter.
Great movement from Tampa, finding a route to the net that broke through the zone. An unmarked run by Friend to the cage. And a great shot on top of it as well. That is not an easy play to convert, kind of running and diving forward. But also as the goalie, that's an impossible shot to cover, going cross crease from left to right. He has to cover a lot of space in a split second. An impossible stop, but a great goal for the Spartans.
And when they look at the video of that one, head coach Joe Peruzzi is not going to be happy with the way that Zach Friend was left completely alone and walked right in and just had to do essentially a quick stick finish and give the Spartans their first lead since 1-0. I was about to say still not possessed by either team, but the Spartans get it. Bashaw, and that one might have been deflected by a Lewis defender at the last moment as you see it go out of play. I think you used the expression poke the bear, and I feel like that's sort of what has happened here with the Spartans, and the Flyers are going to really need to clamp down defensively, get themselves the ball back and try to settle this down.
You talked about complacency at the start of the game, Bruce, and I think that going down by those 2, giving up those 3 goals in a row, could very well do that for the Spartans as they get a clean shot, but a monstrous hit at the other end. Bashaw saved, and Ray with a clean and brutal hit on Bashaw at the end of the play. But I think it's useful for the Spartans to undergo a bit of adversity here. Think about last season. Tampa made the national championships undefeated, but first time facing serious adversity all year long, and they just come up short. This year's a little different. They have won a lot of games in dominant fashion, but they also did have a defeat, which has now led to a pretty comfortable winning streak and undefeated conference campaign. And now a rematch against Lewis, who look miles better than they had back in 2024. No longer a team that is going to lose by a big margin, but one that's going to tie it up to score 4.
Good gets the goal. 1:56 into the second quarter.
Flyers goal scored by number 88, Malachi Good.
And needless to say, that is a huge shot in the arm for Lewis when it felt like the momentum had completely swung in the Spartans' favor. Kind of 2 heavyweights that are feeling each other out here. There were 3 straight goals by the Flyers, 3 straight goals by the Spartans. Now the visitors answer back. And now it's picked up by Noah Driggs for the Spartans, and another flag is thrown. Another flag now. My initial emphasis on the word another was because we've seen a few already in this game, but the second flag coming out really tells you something about kind of the level of tension down in the field and the discipline that, again, I'm sure that Joe Peruzzi is going to demand from his team as this one again goes against Lewis.
Yeah, it comes off the back of just kind of physical defense. I believe might be somewhat of a tripping call there on Davis Picer, actually Connor Williams. He was able to knock the ball loose, but did so just with too much physical contact. And that's going to be just a penalty that really stings for the Flyers. You're about to get the ball back, forcing a nice turnover, preventing a Tampa clearance.
And they score. Tommy Ortega, 15 seconds into that call against Connor Williams. And the Spartans grab the lead back 5-4. 2 minutes, 20 seconds into the second quarter. And that's precisely why Joe Peruzzi is going to demand better discipline from his players, because the Spartans will make you pay, and those penalties will essentially end up in the back of your net.
Yeah, no other team. Well, actually, there are going to be other teams in the nation like Tampa that'll punish you on plays like that. And now here's the timeout, I assume, presumably to talk about that, Bruce. But Tampa especially, when you give them an inch, they will take a mile on offense. It's kind of funny, today you may be expecting the Tampa a little more patient, a little more defensively oriented, but they've actually outshot the Flyers comfortably so far.
Lewis calls a timeout. We'll step aside as well and be back with more NCAA men's lacrosse quarterfinal play here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Balance. It isn't just essential in your sport. It's essential in life, especially college life. It's everything you need to thrive in school, in sport, and everything in between. The key is just finding a place where you can pursue it all, because the real beauty lies in the balance. If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
As a matter of housekeeping, no emotion in my voice, simply reporting, if the Spartans were to win this game, they would host on Sunday, but obviously a lot of lacrosse to be played, and also keeping an eye on the out-of-town scoreboard as it relates to who the winner of this game will play against.
Yeah, but right before that, a close shot missed for the Spartans. They'll keep possession, but it'll be either the 6 or 7 seed moving to Tampa or to Illinois, the winner of this game hosting the national semifinals. Lewis is the second best seed still in this half of the bracket in the tournament. So these teams not just fighting for a ticket to the next round, but the tournament has currently progressed in a way where if Lewis can knock off the number 2 team in the nation, they will get a second home game for tournament play. But they are going to be 2 of the best 6 and 7 teams you'll ever see. Lenore Ryan and Anderson. Currently, Lenore Ryan holds a 4-3 advantage. And I got to say, just from my past experiencing calling lacrosse games, Lenore Ryan is a team that it feels criminal to have them 6th in a certain group for a playoff run. They're always a team that performs at not just a top 10 level, but a top 5 level in the nation. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. A player's helmet went off in the previous play.
Aaron Cho, and he just took it off on the sideline again, and he had a lot of lookbacks at the officials, and the officials, all of a sudden, all 3 of them coming together. So I'm curious to see what's going to come of all this, because Cho is over kneeling down as though he's in the penalty area, and now I think we have another timeout being called. And that is the case. The Spartans are taking a timeout. So let's see what's happening. We'll be back to clear that up for you after this break on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back live, and the officials were the ones that called the timeout and have finished their huddle over on the far sideline, and there is not a call against Aaron Cho. So with 11:53 to go here in the second quarter, and the Spartans leading 5-4, it is the Spartans' ball. And as Justin Conley puts it into play on the far side of the field, goes in behind the Lewis net, is bumped, gets a pick from Zach Friend. Conley looks to him, gives it to him. Friend deep behind the Lewis net, comes out the other side. Tommy Ortega calling for it way up here at the point, and it's going to actually end up in his stick. And now this is Burbank with it. Burbank tries to work his way out. He's chased, has some room to work, takes a shot that goes wide and out of play. Defender backed off of him enough that I wasn't surprised to see him take that shot. And now Conley puts it into play from the near corner. To Ortega it goes. Ortega over for Green. Green cuts in, takes a shot, and that one goes wide and out of play as well. Still 30 on the shot clock for U Tampa. And this will be Bashaw on the restart, sending it up top for Ortega. Ortega looks one-on-one with the defender and is whacked at relentlessly by Logan Suki. Ortega missed the pass. Friend will chase it down. 13 on the shot clock. Friend switches hands. Now back to his right. 3 on the shot clock. Flips it inside. Oh, and they tried to hit right in front of the net Justin Conley. Pass was unsuccessful, and it's turned over on a shot clock violation.
That is painful because he had the ball. It's got through all the defense, but just dropped out of Conley's stick. Would have been 6-4 because virtually zero chance to get on a shot that close range after a good ball like that. So sigh of relief for the Flyers as we hear some sirens across the street. There's a fire station pretty close to the Namoli Family Intramural Complex.
You could almost call this sort of a 2-goal swing because, as you said, such a high-quality scoring opportunity. Had the Spartans converted, they could have gone up 6-4. Now instead, you run the risk of it going in the back of your own net and being 5-5. So let's see how this possession goes. There's a shot taken that goes wide and out of play.
First big chance the Flyers have had this period. It's been Tampa who have taken the early advantage with the majority of the possessions here in the second quarter. It's given them a chance to continue to overturn that deficit and get back in front. But now the Flyers have a chance to get back on goal. Haven't had as many shots. They've been good looks like that one.
Ruskowski was fighting his way for better real estate. Got a pretty good shooting lane. Sent it wide. And now the Flyers, oh, what a goal, top shelf by Carter Korzensky. And the Flyers do, in fact, tie the game 5 minutes, 40 seconds into the second quarter. And just a well-placed shot there as it goes on the far side over the left shoulder of Weston Schmidt.
It's a beauty of a goal there. I mean, one of the cleanest ones you'll see taken. Just a great finish at the end of the play. Not much you can really do there for Schmidt, who's been pretty quiet in the cage for the Spartans so far. There have been a lot of high percentage looks like that one, really impressive shots that have slipped by him. He's only been able to muster one save in the game so far.
Carter Korzensky showing why he's the second leading goal scorer on the Flyers. He came into today's game with 44 goals in 16 games.
That's a big thing for the Lewis goal scoring tally. You know, Tampa have scored a similar amount of goals in the season compared to the Flyers, 266 to 269, but Lewis have done that in 3 fewer games.
Vera with a pass over quick ball movement here by the Spartans. Burbank, didn't have a lane. Would have been a tough angle. Kesselring. You can see the way the defense really helps out Lewis. The way these players slide over. Sometimes a double team, sometimes it's switching. Very alert, the Flyer defenders. Vera, pass to the far side of the field. Burbank gets inside, goes down, and the Flyers start back the other way. I think a few of the fans were looking to see if a flag was going to come out on that one. No such case. And great passing there by the Flyers, and a good save by Schmidt. I think the shooter almost wasn't expecting the pass, and it took too long to set himself for what ended up being a great look at the net. That was Dylan Kendrick who took the shot. So now as a result, the Spartans back to work.
His back was to the goal. I don't know if he realized that he would have had room for a point-blank turn and shot. He did find an open teammate, but it just gave Schmidt enough time to settle down and be able to block the attempt. It's still a high percentage look, but definitely feel like maybe if you're again Lewis's coach Peruzzi, that should have been able to find something a little stronger on that play. Tampa's offense going back to work.
Behind the Flyers net, out in front, and Kesselring's shot was deflected and goes out of play on the far side of the field. Possession stays with you, Tampa. 26 on the shot clock for them. It's right back in. Burbank comes out, is taken down, and they cause the turnover. And Burbank went right after Tyler Davis. I was about to say Flyers able to advance, though. However, now they advance it across midfield.
It's been a tough day for Burbank in the first quarter. Was struggling to receive some passes, and now has had occasional turnovers here and there. As we see a little funny one-on-one happening between one of the Flyers players and Spartans players. Aaron Cho knocking the stick out of A.J. Baumley's hands. He's got it back, however, as the attack continues, but Baumley was putting his hands up. He was appealing to the refs, but you can't fight City Hall. Didn't get the call, and he was still looking for a chance.
Max Anderson working. He's chased. It's Evan Gibbs on him. Ball's going to go out of play, and the official back there says possession to the Spartans. And so the goaltender Schmidt brings it up for U Tampa, puts on the brakes, sends it over to the other side of the field to Arup. Arup looks up ahead at a teammate, and the pass does not connect, and so back come the Flyers.
Great job by Logan Suki to cause the turnover there. He was able to tie up Rafe Bradshaw, who was the target on that pass, and force him to miss the ball.
And a nifty move by Cole Wesner, maybe a little too nifty, in my opinion. He had a great outside shot he could have taken. Tried to get just a little too fancy, trying to get in closer, and I understand trying to work for a higher percentage shot, but Schmidt with a nice opportunity there. Nice move to come out of the net by Weston Schmidt, and a flag is thrown.
And it looks like they're calling it on the Spartans, and I don't know if I agree with that call. I think Schmidt was very clean with his interception, and he's the one who had gotten pressured by the Spartans, or the Lewis attackers at the end of the play. So
yeah, and you see Schmidt, weird how far he came out of the net to ask the officials for an explanation. This all coming with 5:12 remaining in the second quarter. It was 3-3 after one, and thus, yes, it's been 2-2 thus far in the second. And now the official on the far side of the field signaling to the scores table what looks to be a procedure call, and J.B. Clark I don't want to say way out of the field, but he's definitely come out into the field of play to plead his case to the officials. And this is simply going to be a possession decision by the officials and not 30-second penalty. And look at Schmidt clapping there.
I think just overturning the flag on the play and just turning it into a turnover is the right call. Again, still controversial, I'd suggest, whether it was a penalty there or a foul on Schmidt, but I think certainly a foul is definitely more justified on that play compared to a 30-second call there, because, again, if anything, it was Schmidt who might have been the one that's fouled. They say ball doesn't lie as Tampa are able to get it and draw a foul on the other end.
A nice play to start all that by Evan Gibbs for Tampa, and then ultimately Gavin Bomstad and Schmidt teamed up to maintain the possession for the Spartans. And so Tampa with an opportunity now to settle things down and to try to work for a quality chance and regain the lead. Up top with it is Ortega, over for Green. Green moves in, takes a shot, scores! Grant Green with his second goal of the game, and the Spartans do in fact go back up by one at 6-5.
It was Bashaw who really broke out in the second round matchup for the Spartans today. It's the Grant Green show. I believe that gives him a hattie here for the first half. Actually, no, it's just his second goal of the game, but his third point of the match so far. Unassisted for Tampa. It's their 13th shot on the cage and the sixth one to slip by Donahue.
This has been quite the second quarter. The Spartans scored, and then the Flyers, and then the Spartans, and then the Flyers, and now the Spartans. And these face-offs and ground balls are going to become more and more important as the game continues to stay as tight as it has. As you see, Boland in possession for the Spartans, and he gets a big hand from the home faithful. They take it in behind the Lewis net and over to this side to Kesselring.
Really good pressure in the midfield from Lewis, just really hitting the Spartan players. They forced a couple of turnovers doing that, but Boland's a bowling ball. He's going to stay on his feet to absorb those challenges and give Tampa a brand new attacking opportunity.
Looking for something down the far side was Bradshaw. They cycle it around. Up top with it is Vera. Vera has a shooting lane pass in the middle. Scores! Eric Burbank. 7-5 Spartans. And some breathing room for the home team. And what I believe is their first 2-goal lead of the game.
Yeah, first 2-goal lead for any team today. Tampa, actually outside of the 3-1 advantage that Lewis had back in the first quarter, so Tampa's first 2-goal lead. That's a huge goal for Burbank, who had been quiet, had a couple of turnovers and rough plays, not just in the first but the second quarter. He gets on the finishing end of a brilliant attack. I love the assist from Vera to find him, and it's going to force a timeout out of the Flyers with 3:24 to go.
We'll step aside and be back with more NCAA men's lacrosse quarterfinal play on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network after this break.
No, that love of sports is the #1 reason most people start officiating, and verbal abuse is the #1 reason why most quit. Act with respect and be officially human.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
Back live in Tampa following the timeout called by Lewis as Ty Shields gets ready to take this face-off for the visitors, and going head-to-head with Ryan Thomas. And the Spartans will come up with it. Kesselring in possession. Now Burbank, as the fans applaud their team up by 2 and getting a possession to potentially make it 3 as we're inside 3 minutes remaining in the opening half. Green sends a pass over for Ortega for Cho. Cho taking his time. Skips across the Flyers line. Spins. And now back again, pass in the middle, misses. And the Spartans will get a nice bounce there as it ends up in the stick of Ortega. Burbank to Cho. Cho puts a shoulder down, pass in front. Oh, and wide open, Jackson Bashaw missed a great scoring chance there. And boy, would he love to have that one back. 25 on the shot clock as Cho puts it back into play.
Yeah, Bashaw usually doesn't miss up close. Good job by Donahue to just close out Bashaw and force him to try to take a different angle with the attempt on net. It worked just well enough to get him to miss.
Ortega wants it over here, gets to him eventually, takes a shot and scores. He knew exactly why he wanted it, had that great shooting lane, and Tommy Ortega makes it 8-5 with 2:01 left in the first half, and that is his second goal of the game.
If we ask Jackson Bashaw about it at the end of the game, he is definitely going to say, yeah, that was an intentional dummy. That's why I missed the ball there, let it fall to Ortega. But the offline pass just takes the right hop, and when Ortega gets that much space, you can just put an extra goal in the Spartans' goal column. Even with a good save attempt from Donahue that close, it is just easy money. And another goal on the day for Ortega, making it his second.
Yeah, the Spartans, in fact, with 3 players that have 2 goals each thus far, Grant Green, Tommy Ortega, and Zach Friend, and then single tallies from Aaron Cho and Eric Burbank. And the Spartans with another possession, and hold on, not possessed, and a flag flies on the Lewis sideline. I saw head coach Joe Peruzzi immediately throw up both hands. Play stops with 1:48 left here in the second quarter. And let's see what the call is going to be as things got physical. There was a little behind the back pass thrown by the Spartans' Michael Thomas for Harry Boland. And that's when all heck broke loose as he started to bobble it. And in fact, it looks like it is Boland getting a 1-minute penalty.
Yeah, don't disagree with that call. Boland had a pretty big hit on one of the Flyers players who was down on the ground. A defenseless hit there. Definitely a little excited and aggressive there. You know, you like the energy. You don't like the execution, though, out of the Tampa veteran.
And so here go the Flyers with an opportunity to draw within 2. Working for a quality chance. And there's a pass and a shot coming from McCann. Saved by Weston Schmidt. Possession remains with the Back to McCann once again up top. And down low, there's another bounce shot. Carter Korzensky. Somehow, Taylor, I've convinced myself that the Flyers must think that the book on Schmidt are these bounce shots from in close.
That's the way their attack has really been operating today, whether it's something that is the way they're attacking Schmidt specifically or just the Spartans' defense. It makes sense from a point of view of, hey, we're trying to force some 1v1s as there's a wayward ball. I think that Schmidt did get a piece of it, so it'll stay with the Flyers. But I think what their goal has been is find a weaker man matchup, drive to the net, and see if you can get an open area, close range, and it's how they have scored a majority of their early goals.
And a great stop there by Schmidt. Lance McCann with a great look at the net. And the penalty that had been called against Harry Bolin expiring.
Great job there, and Schmidt has gotten a lot better guarding the near post on those attempts. That's the second time he's been able to step in front of the net and use his body to get in the way of the shot.
Grant Green looked like he was going to shoot, thought otherwise. And I almost expect the Spartans to run this down to a final shot to end the half. And the last seconds, we're down to 22 seconds. Cho with it on the far side of the field. He took a very quick look up at the shot clock. Ortega wants it, gets it. Ortega's going to shoot, hit the goalpost, and a huge rebound all the way out to midfield. It's kept alive. I don't know that either team is going to have time to get a shot away, however, as it's still loose, and Ortega fires one from almost midfield as the horn goes to end the first half of play. An exciting first half of play, even if you're a Lewis fan, as the Spartans have an 8-5 lead. So we will take the halftime break and be back on the other side with the third quarter. You're watching NCAA quarterfinal men's lacrosse on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
The NCAA is monitoring online threats made against college athletes. We're drawing the line on harassment and abuse. See the ways the NCAA puts student athletes first at ncaa.org/draw-the-line. Did you know that more than 50,000 student athletes compete in NCAA championships at more than 800 sites across the country each year? Share the experience and excitement of another NCAA championship coming to a city near you. To witness the top teams in the nation compete for a national championship,
half between the Spartans and the Flyers. Spartans in the lead 8-5, and not looking ahead, Taylor Stolworthy. However, both of these teams know that one of their seasons is going to end today, and for the other one, it's going to continue with a home game.
Yeah, Lewis being the 4 seed, Tampa being the 1 seed, they will have home field advantage in the national semifinals against the winner of Lenoir-Rhyne and Anderson. And it's been back and forth. Lenoir-Rhyne has led by as much as 2 in the game today, but they're currently square at 6-6. Most recently, Lenoir-Rhyne tying it up after trailing 6-5 early in the third.
Shots on goal in this one to this point, 15-9 in favor of the Spartans. Tampa has won 11 of 15 faceoffs, not counting the one that started this half. And ground balls to this point are 9 for Lewis and 17 for Tampa. As the second half is underway, Spartans with the possession. That's Eric Burbank. Burbank with a goal and an assist in this game. And Taylor, as you mentioned, it's been a busy afternoon, a busy first half for Caden Donahue, the goaltender for Lewis. He's allowed 8 goals and he's made 7 saves. But he's really kept his team in the game.
It's not been a surprise that Donahue was going to get put to work very early. Tampa with a lot of shots in the early going here in these playoff matchups. But Donahue's responded well to the challenge with a couple of huge saves, and Tampa is up by 3. Make it 4. What a close-range goal by
Jackson Bashaw was left wide open, and that's one that is going to give head coach Joe Peruzzi nightmares. I mentioned before about the goal that was scored on what essentially was a quick stick. But, I mean, that was just, I'm going to set up camp right here in front of the net, wait till someone gets me the ball because nobody for Lewis is watching me.
Yeah, and that's just Tampa breaking through the zone of Lewis, just catching them off guard, slipping to a blind spot. Bashaw missed a similar chance back in the second quarter, point blank like that, but this time makes it happen, and Tampa's up by 4, largest lead of the game.
And I would be Captain Obvious if I said not the way that the Flyers wanted to start the second half. Not only giving up the goal, but the type of goal that they allowed.
They'd rather Tampa earn it from distance or have to make a tough shot against a defender. That's just an uncontested look. That is like a warm-up goal, essentially, for Bashaw. He'll certainly take it and get on the scoreboard as Tampa gets started in the second half.
You have to wonder if Spartans head coach J.B. Clark didn't really ram home that eye of the tiger approach during halftime and say, guys, we've got to go for the jugular here. You know, they had a 3-goal lead, which by no means is comfortable, especially as we've seen in this game. Teams in the first quarter, if you're just joining us, went on 3-goal runs each. And now the Spartans work for an opportunity with a shot that's going to go wide and out of play. And so if that's the case, I have no inside information, but they certainly responded with that very early goal by Jackson Bashaw to go up 9-5 and trying to hit double digits here as it's up top with Vera. Pass over, and Friend is going to shoot and score from way outside. And there it is, double digits as Zach Friend picks up his 3rd goal of the game.
A great day for Friend. The Tampa sideline absolutely loving it. A great long-range effort goal again from Tampa, proving that they can get it in close, get it from distance. Getting that goal from Bashaw earlier is going to be huge for the Spartans because it keeps their attack multi-dimensional. You don't want to be forced into the defensive system of Lewis or trying to protect close to the net. They want Tampa to force longer shots, ones that might be easier for Donahue to get to. Instead, Tampa wants Lewis to be a bit variable. They don't know whether they're going to then shoot from distance or bring it up close. Friend had enough room to let it rip, and this time does so cleanly. And finally, Lewis wins the faceoff, although it looked like with the slip they were about to lose the ball.
Yeah, but to reinforce your point, you do want to leave Lewis guessing, and that's what the Spartans have forced the Flyers to do at this point, because there's something to be said for balanced scoring, meaning up and down the lineup. There's something also to be said for the word that you used, multidimensional, that you leave them open from outside, and they're going to make you pay. And as we saw with the opening goal of this half by Bashaw, you leave them open in close, and they're going to make you pay.
That's been a big difference. Tampa is really good at defending the outside of the perimeter. They're really good at keeping on-ball pressure to not give a lot of open looks. And Lewis's game plan has been to try to drive through those one-on-one matchups, win the battles by the post. And as Tampa has kind of made a couple of changes to get better at defending it, you've noticed that the Flyers have been a little less productive with these high percentage chances.
You know, you talked earlier, the nice save by Schmidt. You talked earlier, Taylor, about adversity. The Spartans went up very quickly in this game, 1-0. And before you know it, Lewis answered right back. Oh my gosh, look what just happened. The visitors came in here and answered our opening goal. Before you know it, it was 3-1. And the point I'm trying to make is, if you're going to be a championship team, you need to be able to rally in the face of adversity. I don't think, however, that Lewis head coach Joe Peruzzi wants to say, if we're going to be a championship team, we have to rally in the face of adversity, such as going down by 5 goals. You're on the road, you're playing a perennial powerhouse in the Tampa Spartans, and now this is where you are going to see what they're made of.
Yeah, it's a very different situation like you just explained there, because for Tampa, you know, on paper, look at that, pump fake and then shot, good effort. You know, they're a team that can muster a quick comeback, as we actually might get a Tampa man advantage with a late hit on the play. But for Lewis, they have to take the advantage and hold the advantage. Tampa is a team that can secure an early lead, secure the momentum of the game, and they are very much immune to comebacks because of how their play style is, the way that they control possession and work methodically. Lewis, they also do a relatively good job of that, but they're a team that's a little more aggressive, and they would rather be setting the tempo than responding to Tampa tempo, and now that they're responding to Tampa tempo, it's just giving the Spartans a lot of room to run away, and this could be adversity. It might be a little tricky to come back from.
Yeah, they did come back from down 1-0 to take the lead 3-1. And it's at that point that you say, and what did you do with it? So that one's thrown away. And with 43 seconds and the man advantage, the Spartans are going to have to go on defense as Donahue runs it up.
Tampa forced a ton of turnovers against Flagler in their round 2 matchup. The first game the Spartans played in the postseason against the 8 seed, or actually 9 seed. But today, both teams pretty level on the turnover front. Tampa has caused all 6 of the turnovers out of the Flyers. There have been 4 unforced turnovers from the Spartans for 7 in total.
This is McCann with it in the corner as he waits for the final 6 seconds to tick off on the penalty against Connor Williams. 1-0, and they are back at full strength. And so now McCann, who's being watched back there by Ben Anton. And up top with it, Forsyth runs a pass over. Looking out in front was Max Anderson. Didn't have an open teammate, so it's in behind the Spartans' net. And pressure being put on Rappus. Flyers hold on. McCann wants to get in closer, but the Spartans push him into the corner, and the shot clock is going to run out. And nice stop there by Schmidt right as the buzzer goes on the shot clock. So it'll be turned over.
Textbook defense there from Tampa. They didn't allow anything open up close, forcing the Flyers to keep working around, keep looking for something, and the goalie pressing forward with an empty net gives a perfect chance for Tampa. Not for the dagger, still plenty of time to go, but Sam Forte just offline.
Wow, and that's one that Forte is going to have nightmares about. Had a wide open net and missed the mark. Possession stays with his team, however, as it's up top with Vera. Vera skips over in the direction of the Lewis sideline. Now gets past the defender, and look out. Nice recovery there. Ethan Fisher, and hold on. Whistle.
Yeah, Vera just a little aggressive with the check after the turnover. He doesn't get called for a penalty. It wasn't too egregious, but got tangled up, and they're going to say that he tripped him. Great defense, though, to force the ball free. Great save by Schmidt.
Back come the Spartans the other way. Justin Conley on the run. Pushes it up ahead to Burbank. Boy, we've called his name an awful lot today. Over to the far side of the field it goes. Bashaw with the pass. There's a shot, and it's going to go out of play off the stick of Rex Kesselring. Spartans still in possession. As Justin Conley, the freshman from Raleigh, North Carolina, sends it up top for Ortega to Green. Looks to his right, goes back to his left to Ortega. Ortega with a quick little hand motion, and now gets ready to skip across the Lewis line, and does. Ortega's going to take a bounce shot, and Donahue may have gotten a piece of that one as it goes out of play. And Kesselring will put it back into play for UTampa. Goes over to the other side of the field. Bashaw sends it to Ortega. Ortega starts his move, and the defense holds his stick down and causes a turnover. And off to the races goes Logan Suki. Bobbled, and the Spartans get to the loose ball. Gordy Gombold picks it up.
Player down to the ground, though, for Lewis off a hit off the previous play, and they are going to stop playing out a check on him. Rough contact for the 55, it looks like. Hopefully he's all right as he's checked on by a teammate. A bit shaken up, that being A.J. Baumley going down. He's able to get off under his own power, but a light limp. Both teams get a chance to rotate. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but at least for the time being, with 7:28 to go, he'll head to the sideline.
The Spartans, if you just joined us, have scored 2 goals since the second half began. It was 3-3 after 1, and then a big second quarter as UTampa outscored the visitors 5-2. And as I mentioned, have added to it with a pair thus far in the third quarter. And the Spartans still with the ball here as Kyle White drives down the side, sends it back up top for Cho, with a little skip move. Cho switches hands and now takes a shot that Donahue saw the whole way. Spartans get the rebound, and that one bounces way out and is corralled by Zach Johnson as it's sent down behind the net.
Save of the game by Donahue. He somehow got a piece of the follow-up by Kesselring. What a rebound with a point-blank shot, but jumping and elevating. A perfect save by Donahue, and there a jumping one-timer just missed by Kesselring, but that play only possible because of an incredible save out of Donahue, even down 5, keeping the Flyers in range.
It's easy for me to see from up here in the press box, but boy, Rex Kesselring was left wide open on the goal crease and was looking for the finish with the quick stick. Just wasn't precise enough. And so back the other way. Lewis trying to set things up, see if they can get themselves back in this game. Trailing by as many goals as they have scored in the game to this point. Still tons of time. 6 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the third quarter. And they take it on the far side. It's Turbovich. Pass behind the net. Looking for some room to work as Rappus. Up top it goes for Anderson. Max Anderson shoots, and Schmidt with the save outlets it. And now bobbled as Desi Arup couldn't find the handle. And so the Flyers get it right back.
It's an unlucky clearance attempt from the Spartans. They've struggled a few times with those outlet passes, but they're doing a great job on the defensive end, and Schmidt's really been able to elevate his play since the first quarter. I think he was still kind of settling in when he conceded those 3 goals back-to-back. Since then, he's gotten on a majority of the good shot attempts, up to 8 saves in the game now.
Take it down to the goal line extended, and there's a shot, and Schmidt, another great save. Oh no, and he throws it right into Paul Ruskowski's stick, and somehow the Spartans escape danger and get the ball and take it down the other way, and now that's going to be turned over. Play getting a little sloppy as Braylon Ray headmans it for the Flyers. And away goes Ethan Fisher. And now Baumley, that's 50 and not 55. Shelfie try to settle it down. Do the Lewis Flyers. It's in the far corner. And that's Fritz Whalen. Starts his move. Being watched closely by Boland. Quick pass and a nice goal there. An easy tap in for the Flyers. And they close the gap to 10-6 with 4:09 remaining in the third.
Now, if I was Coach Clark here coming off of that possession, great job by the Flyers to open up some space, get enough room for a point-blank shot, I'd be calling a timeout because you saw 2 turnovers back from Tampa who are just trying to do too much too quickly. They're in a position where they're up by 5 goals, 19 minutes to play. Now it's 4 goals. They don't need a rush. They've got over a minute to work with, and the Flyers, they conversely have been patient, playing like the team that's up by 4, not rushing to get back on the scoreboard, and they're taking advantage of Tampa mistakes. Here's Tampa winning the faceoff and losing the ball immediately after.
Yeah, sloppy by the Spartans there. Got a little lazy, and it ends up in the stick of the opponent as the Flyers have a chance to draw within 3.
Big thing as well, third quarter is one of the weaker ones for the Flyers. Throughout their games this season, they've conceded the most shots on goal in this period compared to any other period they've played. So this might be the best chances you'll get on offense if you're Tampa, and you don't necessarily want them to go to waste, even with this lead. A quick run from the Flyers, which they could get, couldn't really cut that deficit in the blink of an eye.
A long shot taken there by Carter Korzinski. That looked like it was deflected. And as you see, it's still Flyers possession. 3:15 to go in the third, 34 on the shot clock. It's deep in behind the Spartans' net. It's Cole Wesner. Wesner spins and takes a shot and scores. A rather weak shot that somehow gets past Weston Schmidt.
It took a great bounce to get by him, I think. Maybe it was a farther out bounce and just kind of takes a hop to the net with some good spin. Definitely expect Schmidt to get on top of that one, but nobody's perfect. One of the first times he hasn't been able to get on anything this half, and all of a sudden, they're back within 3.
When you said that J.B. Clark should call a timeout, I was with you on that. And the fact that he's not now after one ends up in the back of the net is surprising me a little bit. Perhaps, and he's got more experience than I do by a lifetime, but perhaps he wants his players to work through this themselves. It is still a 3-goal lead. It's not tied. And let's see how they respond. And there's another turnover. This is where you count on your veterans to really dig their heels in if you're Tampa. And the Flyers probably starting to feel a little bit more confident, seeing how they're chipping away at this lead, and they have a chance now to cut it to 2.
Yeah, after Tampa took the first 2 goals of the quarter, things are almost starting to look like they were about to be out of reach, but just a couple of miscues from the Spartans have now put the Flyers right back into it. And again, you feel good if you're Tampa up by 3, but all it takes is just one more good play, maybe one more miscue out of the defense, and now you're looking at that deficit being cut down to one of the scariest leads in sports, 2. Good save by Schmidt.
Yeah, good passing there by the Flyers, and if you're a Spartans fan, good to see Weston Schmidt respond with the strong stop, and now fighting his way through as Dom Rotura falls on the field and is picked up by Burbank. So the Spartans will try to settle it down and certainly want to turn this back into a 4-goal lead, enable themselves to exhale a little bit as Ortega gave it to Cho, who just stepped on. Cho looking for some room to work, puts his shoulder down, has the lane, hit the goalpost, and the Flyers able to get the rebound. And now pressure in close by Zach Friend. And the Flyers do have the ball. Friend knocks the stick out of the hand of the Flyers player, and as a result, the Spartans get possession. Cho sends it behind the net. Friend to Ortega. Ortega gets the slow it down signal from Grant Green, who just stepped onto the field. Green sends it over to Cho.
Yeah, there's no more shot clock. I think the idea, take this last possession. At worst case scenario, if you don't score here, you're still up by 3 leading into the 4th.
Ortega playing catch with Green. Ortega has 2 goals in this game. Green has 2. And you have to wonder who they're going to have take that shot. Cho is out there as well. He has a goal in this game and an assist. And you see them playing catch there, Cho, Green, and Ortega, as we're down to 23 on the game clock.
They're working from the left side. Keep an eye on Bashaw. He might make an eventual run. That's how he's been able to get open a couple times today.
Green with the pass over, 17 on the clock. Cho flips it to Friend. Friend sends it over to Green. A bounce pass misses, and it's going to go out of bounds. And there's a tough break for the Spartans as the quarter will expire on a long shot attempt by Lewis. And so we have reached the end of 3 quarters here in Tampa with the home team up 10-7. We'll be back with the 4th quarter. You're watching NCAA Men's Lacrosse quarterfinal play on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Back live in Tampa, and the Spartans with a 10-7 lead. And Taylor, let's look at what's gone right and what's gone wrong for these two teams. This is a huge face-off coming up, and one of the things that's gone wrong for the Flyers is they've won only 5 of 20 face-offs in this game. Conversely, one of the things that's gone wrong for the Spartans, 15 turnovers.
Yeah, 7 turnovers caused in the 3rd quarter alone out of the Flyers. And by the way, huge violation is going to give Tampa a very important possession to start the period. But recently, the Spartans have really struggled with clearances, and when they win the face-offs, they've struggled to hold on to the ball. They did a good job defending in the 3rd corner. Lewis only had a small run late to cut a 5-goal deficit back to 3, back where it was at halftime. But Tampa had been so strong to start the 3rd quarter, you could really feel the game slipping away, and that is credit to the Flyers, facing pretty tough odds, bouncing right back and making things very interesting again for those final 15 minutes. Time will tell, though, if the Spartans get back on their feet or stay a bit slower. There's a dropped ball.
Yeah, one thing that's gone right for the Spartans is goaltender Weston Schmidt. Wow, 10 saves. And we had talked early in the game that on the flip side, Caden Donahue, the goaltender for Lewis, was keeping his team in it. And Schmidt has really found another gear. And one thing that's going right for Lewis is there's no quit. They fell down by as many as 5 goals and have cut it to 3.
And you got to give credit to Coach Peruzzi, keeping the team motivated despite the rough run that they were given at the end of the first half, with Tampa jumping to a pretty comfortable lead, then extending it in the third quarter. But now they've bounced back, and if not for some big Schmidt saves, they could have been within 2 or even 1 goal now of this lead entering the fourth. But now Tampa has a bit more breathing room, and we'll see which team can get a first clean attack on the board after back-to-back turnovers.
And here's an opportunity. White opts not to shoot. Another thing to watch for here in this first quarter, there's been maybe something in the neighborhood of, say, 7, give or take, face-offs per quarter. So not a lot. But ground balls is going to be the other area. 18 picked up so far in this game by Lewis and 25 by the Spartans. So that's a hustle stat. That if you want to, they score. I was going to say, if you want to advance to the semifinal game, it's going to be those hustle stats that are going to do it. And now Matthew Vera gives the Spartans a 4-goal lead, 156 in. And this has kind of been a hallmark of the Spartans. They score these early goals, and then it is a test of, now what are you going to do with it? It's great to get on the scoreboard so fast and maybe think you've popped the opponent's balloon, but where do you go next?
Exactly. We saw in the first quarter, Lewis rallied after conceding the opener with 3 straight. They'll have to do that and then some here in the fourth quarter to make the comeback happen. But that's a big goal for the Spartans, and this face-off going Tampa's way, if not for a late bounce, still a loose ball. And that's going to be painful for Tampa, as it's going to be Lewis coming up with it.
Yeah, it is an important goal for Tampa nonetheless, as you started to say. With the way that Lewis was starting to find their way back into this game in the third quarter, it's kind of one of those exhale goals where the Spartans say, okay, we're not putting it on cruise control. We're assuming nothing, but boy, it sure does help to restore a 4-goal lead, as opposed to, as I mentioned earlier, that other swing where if you're up by 3, right, it was 10-7. If you're up by 3, if all of a sudden you allow the next goal instead of scoring it, now you're only up by 2, and you start getting a little tighter in that shirt collar. As the Spartans are working on defense here, you see the player go down for Lewis, and that's going to be a clean play, a caused turnover, and credit that one to Harry Boland, as the Spartans will start it out of their own end in the person of Gordy Gombold. He crosses midfield, is checked, ball goes out of play, and the official right below our broadcast location says, yes, that is possession Lewis.
Tampa just has to be a little more disciplined getting the ball up the field. It's another time we've seen a midfield turnover out of the Flyers defense. They're doing a good job of closing down. I don't know if Tampa players are using new sticks or if there were some changes to the sticks throughout the day, but it feels like some of them are just uncomfortable in receiving some of the physical contact. And all credit to Lewis, they keep putting pressure on that weakness of Tampa, and Tampa hasn't found a response yet.
Yeah, we hear a lot in sports about strength and conditioning coaches, and some of this might be strength and conditioning, which is unusual in that you would think that maybe the Florida weather is unfamiliar to a team like Lewis. It's traveling here from Illinois, and there's a shot and a goal by Paul Ruskowski. You'd think that maybe a team like Lewis, maybe the Florida, the temperature and the afternoon heat, the humidity starts to get to them, and it could be strength and conditioning that the Spartans need to improve upon off the field so that we're not seeing some of the things that you just remarked about.
It very well could be, but I'm also inclined to not necessarily think that's the problem, given that Tampa's got one of the best strength and conditioning departments in the nation. Incredible workout facilities here on campus, some state-of-the-art tech, but it could be more something you had suggested earlier, a bit of complacency creeping in, especially now that they were back up by 4 again. You start to get a little more comfortable, and you really shouldn't, because again, 11 minutes, there is plenty of time for a run. Big violation for Tampa to win the face-off, and they should be able to now have a clean possession. And the recent problem hasn't been when Tampa's been in possession. It's been when they've been attempting clears and bringing it up for these possessions.
Ortega across the Lewis line, sends it into the corner, and now behind the net it goes. And Burbank looked at Bashon instead, goes up top for Green. Green retreats in the direction of midfield. Holds on to it, now gives it to Cho. Aaron Cho tiptoeing on that restraining line. Tries to get past the defender, does. Drops off a pass, it's bobbled. Ball is loose. And neither team able to possess as it's chased down and corralled by Paul Ruskowski for the Flyers. Another loose ball, however, and that one's going to be chased toward the far corner. And ultimately it was picked up by Good, but let's see what the official says. It is the Lewis ball, and I think their coach is calling a timeout. So we will take a break. You're watching NCAA Men's Lacrosse quarterfinal action on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Balance. It isn't just essential in your sport. It's essential in life, especially college life. It's everything you need to thrive in school, in sport, and everything in between. The key is just finding a place where you can pursue it all. Because the real beauty lies in the balance. If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
A 3-goal lead for the home team. One of these teams, unfortunately, is going to see their season come to an end. The other one is going to punch their ticket to the semifinals. We're down to 10 minutes and 15 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. And the Flyers at work offensively. They had gained possession, and Taylor, as you mentioned, during the timeout, their coach with a quick signal to the officials to give him a chance to talk to his players, if nothing else, to settle them down in a high danger situation when both teams were having problems possessing the ball.
Yeah, it wasn't a, hey, let's fix something timeout. It was a, hey, let's not give Tampa the ball timeout. It was a very tactical one out of Brucey. And it also does play that double role of allowing the Lewis team to check in as they try to take a shot on the open net. I like the idea. Tampa will keep the ball thanks to good positioning. But it gives a chance for them to reset. I like the idea. Out of Desi, air up, and here comes Tampa on the attack.
That's the second one today where we saw that Caden Donahue, the goaltender, had completely abandoned the net. Spartans 0 for 2 trying to take advantage of a potentially gift-wrapped goal, but we're going to have to work for it here as it's dropped back for Conley. Justin Conley sends it to the far side. Into the corner goes Friend, and Kesselring directing traffic. Friend pops back out on that side, up top to Conley, over for Vera. Vera looking for an opening. Doesn't have it, sends a pass over. Oh, Friend wanted to shoot, now he does. And a good save they made there by Caden Donahue. Dare I say, an important save by Caden Donahue.
Very important. You know, Tampa hold on to that 3-goal lead. If it gets to 4 this late, that's where you really start to look at the time and think, do we have enough time on the board to try to overturn the deficit? For Friend, I think a defender just closed out in time as there's a bit of physical contact. Flags go up, so it will be the Flyers getting a man advantage at the end of this play if there's no goal. So big chance for them. especially now coming off of that shot, high probability they'll end this possession or extended period, cutting the deficit to 2.
And there's a shot attempt by Carter Korzensky, and the whistle stopping play with 8:12 to go here in the fourth quarter. And this is exactly what the Flyers need. Trailing by 3. I'm going to get a 30-second call against Noah Driggs of UTampa. Actually, it's Jackson Bashaw, not Noah Driggs.
Penalty to number 13, Jackson Bashaw.
So the Flyers need to go to work right away here. The 30-second man advantage. They started up top as Wessner sends it over, and they start to work the perimeter. Now go back where it came from, and it returns to the stick of Wessner. He tries the other side of the field. It's back to him again. Goes to the right side, and a shot by Schmidt. Stopped, loose ball, and pulled down by the Spartans. And a nice job there by Thomas Yavinsky. And Schmidt, out of his own net, sends a pass over to the far sideline. And up ahead it goes with Wietzman. Wietzman has an open net, and he misses. 0 for 3, the Spartans on these wide open net chances.
It's a risky defensive call from Coach Peruzzi, but you see it at other levels of the game, from D1 in the pro scene, where the goalie will head to the midfield and assist in trying to prevent the clearance. And it's worked for the Flyers today. That pass did not work. Tampa's going to get it back, but Tampa's still going to keep trying to pressure them. That time the turnover from Malachi Good. And let's see this time if they have the goalie covering or marking. It looks like Donahue is away. Once again, marking a Spartan attacker. And here's an immediate turnover.
Here come the Flyers. Wessner, little spin move, and gets a shot away. But that goes wide and out of play. Possession stays with the visitors. They trail by 3 with 7:01 remaining here in the fourth quarter. I'm tempted to use the expression, a trip to the semifinals awaits. But as you pointed out earlier, it's going to be a home game for either one of these teams, regardless of who wins this game. It could either be a trip back home, or the Spartans will say, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, Lewis would be the only team traveling, and to them, it's to their own friendly confines back in Illinois. By the way, the team that will be joining them on the moment looks to be Anderson, but again, still so close between them and Lenore Rhine. 8-7 in favor of Anderson at the moment, the 7th seed in this half of the bracket.
Working awfully hard there. Ruskowski get the pass away, 25 on the shot clock. And nobody open for Fritz Whalen. Now a pass into the middle, and coming out of the pack with it for the Spartans is Evan Gibbs. And so not able to get a shot away, a quality shot I should say, the Lewis Flyers, as we're under 6 minutes to go now.
I like the discipline from Bashaw. Hold on to the ball and begin a long attack. You could see Weitzman screaming for the ball as he was close to a relatively open net, with still their goalie just kind of struggling to get back into position in time. If you look at Caden Donahue on the play, but Tampa know that time's on their side now, and if they can score here, that would be huge. So they'd rather not risk an early shot that could lead to a turnover. They'd rather work a good attack, almost a turnover forced by Lewis. Good recovery from Ortega.
Over for Green. 30 on the shot clock. Behind the net it goes, pulled down by Bashaw to the other side of the field. And now they'll reset up top. Friend skips across the line. Friend backs off. Ortega with it now. There's a broken stick right where he is. And as the shot clock is down to 10 seconds now. And there's a shot. Didn't get through. And now on the follow through it goes out of play. The official back there says possession remains with the Spartans, but there's only 4 seconds on the shot clock. So if nothing else, they at least kill plenty of game clock as the official tosses that broken stick over onto the sidelines. And so the shot clock expires, and Lewis will go to work here, starting it up out of their own end. They play it back to their goaltender, Donahue, and he gives it right back. It's Brady Powers. And now slipping through, Braylon Ray. And Kendrick. They make some personnel changes, do the Flyers. On the far side of the field, they take it down towards the corner. That's Shelfie back there. Drops off a pass for Rappus. Pass connects with McCann. McCann tries to turn the corner, and nifty pass in close, and they opt to pass. Had a great look at the net. Oh, and they tried to hit the cutter, McCann, and instead the Spartans take over, and Schmidt giving it right back to Gombold, and back to Schmidt once again. Weston Schmidt's going to run this one up himself. Takes the long shot. And now the Flyers try to do the same. Play getting a little sloppy here as Driggs has it for the Spartans.
I like the idea out of Schmidt trying to go for the goalie goal, but the defender was right there and he got the ball. And then with Schmidt out of position, Lewis tried to flip the reverse card on the other end. Great positioning though by Gordy Gombold to get in front of that ball and essentially make a save for the Spartans, and now they get to kill an extra minute off the clock. If they can score right here, they would be up by about 4 goals, about 2 minutes remaining, and that is huge this late. 3 goals is still very nice with that time left, but 4 is where you really start to say, yeah, this one might be out of reach, because do you actually have that amount of possessions left if you're the Flyers?
Yeah, whether the Spartans score here or not, I'm going to go on the record as saying that time is officially a factor at this point. 3-goal Spartan lead. They score. Now it's 4 as Bashaw gets another one, his second of the game. So a 4-goal lead with 2:44 left in regulation. And Burbank with the assist. Taylor, I'm going to say that is an enormous goal on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, that is a goal that feels like the dagger. Now, it's going to come down to this face-off. Whoops, excellent. Being to the window glass here, causing a scare to you and the viewers. But that is a huge goal for the Spartans, because if Tampa wins this face-off, they get to kill 60 seconds. And you're looking at about 90 seconds to play. And that's if you get the stop if you're Lewis. You need to score 4 times in that span. I think Lewis have it in them to maybe score 2 or 3 if they get lucky. They win some face-offs in that span. But 4 is where you start to say, okay, we're feeling better. And look at an own goal there after winning the face-off by Thomas, trying to get it away from the pressure, and it's now a 3-goal lead again.
Now that'll be on the not top 10 plays. It is a forgettable moment for Michael Thomas. After you had talked about if the Spartans win the draw, Michael Thomas wins the faceoff, and then oops, it ends up in the wrong net. So all of a sudden it's 12-9. You had said that you thought that Lewis might have a couple, maybe 2-3 goals in them. The Spartans just made it a little bit easier on them to continue to hold out hope. Although Tampa with the ball right now, Forte with it as a Flyers player goes down on the far side of the field. Spartans try to cause a turnover. Oh, a big check applied there, and we've got flags being thrown. At least 2 flags that I see, and play stops with 2:17 remaining.
Yeah, and I think the flag not only is for these benches getting a little riled up, obviously the tension of a playoff game kicking into effect, but there was a pretty big undefended hit on a player down to the ground for the Spartans. That is what I believe will give Tampa a man advantage, but also expect warnings for both sidelines here as they immediately started to converge right after the play was called.
And the officials, all 3 of them, talking it over at midfield, so we are waiting for the official call from the scorers table. But obviously you can understand, Taylor, as you just implied, the tension on the Lewis sideline starting to get amped up a bit as they're feeling this slipping away despite the gift-wrapped 9th goal. And wow, 2 one-minute penalties being assessed against Lewis. Both Carter Korzensky and Paul Ruskowski. Well, that's going to really sting if the Flyers had any hope of trying to mount a late comeback.
Yeah, I mean, that's the type of play that'll just straight up end the season, I think, for Lewis. You basically have to go empty net trying to force a Tampa turnover, and you really can't do that down 2 players. Just plays into the hands of Coach Clark and the Spartans with 80 seconds to kill. And, you know, you can't blame the players for taking the penalty. That's the most important face-off of the game. You have to go all out to get the ground ball, but they ultimately lose the ball, pick up penalties, and the Spartans, they're not even going to try to contest the open net at the moment. They're just going to wait. Maybe they'll get something a little bit closer and just wind that clock down even further just to make sure that Lewis don't have time for 3.
Nonetheless, in my humble opinion, I think those 2 penalties will not only give Joe Peruzzi an extra gray hair or 2, but make for an even a little bit longer trip back to Illinois. As you see, viewers, that, as Taylor mentioned, the Spartans are content just to kill clock here. There's still 33 on the shot clock. And you see them really not in a hurry to try to pop in goal number 13, although making me look bad is Grant Green, who says, well, I've got a great shot here. I might as well take it. And the ball goes out of play, and they've reset the shot clock, and there's only 20 seconds difference, meaning 20 more on the game clock than on the shot clock. So the Spartans can really take this down to less than a half minute.
If anything else, that call to say that it was a save or a deflection that resets the shot clock is going to put an extra gray hair on Peruzzi's head, because that, more than anything else, is just guaranteed a Tampa win. And wide open, they're not even going to take the goal. Tampa's just going to let it roll down to 20 seconds. I get it if you're the Spartans, but you know those plays, Bruce, where you go down at the 1-yard line? That is the equivalent of that for Weitzman, but on the end of a 99-yard passing play. Weitzman taking one for the team, not scoring the playoff goal, just to guarantee Spartans victory, unless you see something along the lines of a Tracy McGrady style 13 points in 9 seconds, which really won't be happening for the Flyers.
Donahue, the goaltender, is all the way out here at midfield, matched up with Conley Stone. And we have a timeout being called by J.B. Clark with 20.4 seconds remaining. And we'll stay through this one rather than going to a break. It's been quite an entertaining afternoon of lacrosse. 3-3 after 1. Spartans with a big second quarter that essentially is the difference in this game, because it was 3-3 first quarter. The third quarter scoring was 2-2. The fourth quarter scoring has been 2-2. So it was that 3-goal difference, 5-2, the Spartans outscoring Lewis in the second quarter, that you could say has mathematically been the difference.
It has. Tampa is just able to generate enough momentum there to give them a comfortable enough lead. And looking at one of the other big stats, shots on goal. Tampa have been peppering the cage all day against Lewis. 22 shots on target. Lewis have only had 34 shots. 22 of them have been on target. So both these teams have had the same amount of chances against the goalies. So you also got to give some nods over to Schmidt, who in the first quarter it almost looked like you might want to get Roley kind of stretching a bit, maybe in case you do want to make a change should things look bad. But since the second quarter on, he's basically been flawless. Only high percentage point-blank shots, apart from that one weird bounce goal, have been able to get by him. So yeah, it's a combo of just a good run in the second quarter, great play out of Schmidt, and smart play there. And I believe that is the current score, 9-7, being announced over the PA for Anderson and Lenore Ryan. That game started a little bit earlier. That's the final. So Anderson moves on, 7th seed, to the national semifinal.
And the shot clock officially expires for the Spartans. So Lewis starts it up the field, but just 12 seconds left in the game now. And the Spartans essentially cause a turnover, and they gain possession and will run out the final seconds. And the fans on their feet, the horn goes, the game is over. The Tampa Spartans have defeated the Lewis Flyers by a score of 12-9 to advance to the semifinals, which they will host here on Sunday. And a tough game on the road for the Flyers as they see their 6-game winning streak come to an end.
The big goal for the Flyers was to get revenge for 2024, not have a season-ending loss that is just completely heartbreaking. Ironically, still going to be a heartbreaking defeat. They played very well to the Spartans level and came up just short. A stellar day and a solid year across the board for them. What a great game from Donahue. Obviously, weaker on the stat sheet compared to Schmidt because they both had the same amount of save opportunities and he conceded 3 more. But there were a handful of incredible stops that Donahue made, which was the reason that the Flyers kept it so close for so long.
There was a comment that I made earlier that I'll kind of revisit, which is this might not be a popular observation with Spartans fans, but the way that Tampa played today, they've got a lot of work to do before Sunday. A lot of things that J.B. Clark's not going to be happy with about today's game that they have to clean up before Sunday if they're to even think about winning that game to go on to the national championship.
Yeah, and on one hand, there is a huge benefit for the Spartans. They don't have to face Lenore Vine. They don't have to face Adelphi, the team that ended their undefeated season in 2024 in the national championship. The bad news? Both of those teams got eliminated by their opponent, the 7th-ranked Anderson side that's going to be coming to town hungry to knock off another top dog. And another big thing as well that Tampa's going to need to work on, turnovers. They had 20 in the game today.
Yeah, that's 5 per quarter, and those are the little things that are going to add up to determine whether you come out on the winning side or if your season comes to an end. We talked about things like face-offs. We talked about things like loose balls. And when you're committing 20 turnovers and still winning, let's say you've dodged a little bit of a risky situation there. But the Spartans, let's give credit where credit's due. I mean, they're now winners of 13 straight for a reason, 20-1 in 2026. And I don't think I'm saying anything that they don't know. That they know the game that they put out there today, the game that they put on tape, as the expression goes. And I think they can admit some of the things that they're going to make sure are gone come Sunday.
Yeah, for Coach Clark, he definitely knows what Tampa needs to do differently leading into the all-important national semifinal, leading into the all-important farewell game this season at the Namoli Family Stadium. Should Tampa win, it would then be a trip to Charlottesville to get revenge for 2024, for 2025 actually, and to get back the national title for their second program natty. And it's going to come down to that big semifinal. They've got an impressive Cinderella dog coming to the town from Anderson, who just beat a perennial top dog again. We're going to be looking to make lightning strike thrice.
So we know the opponent, we know the day. We encourage you to look at TampaSpartans.com for the game time of the semifinal that will be here this weekend. Final shots on goal, as Taylor mentioned, were 22 apiece. The Spartans won 19 faceoffs today. Lewis won just 6. Final ground balls were 23 for the visitors and 34 for the home team. And the Spartans, very balanced scoring. They had 3 players that had 2 goals each and were led by Zach Friend that had 3 goals and 1 assist. We should mention that Cole Wesner had a 3-goal game for the Flyers. The numbers that matter the most, the Spartans outscore Lewis 12-9 to advance to the men's lacrosse semifinal game. My thanks as always to Andre Pyatt. Taylor Stolworthy has been with me today. I'm Bruce Wozniak. Thanking you for watching from Tampa. We'll see you back here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network on Sunday.